At the beginning, it was like you remember all the old stories. At the first couple weeks of COVID, everyone's like, "Oh, this is going to be done in a month. Like,
Yeah.
this is really weird. Like, this virus is spreading like crazy. We'll wear masks for a little while, and then we'll go right back to normal. Like, this is a little blip in the on the long-term picture of things." But it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so, as a office concept business where people have to come to your physical space and work next to each other,
Ah.
it's like the worst nightmare of all nightmares for your business.
Hey, friends, welcome back to Through the Dip, the show about what it's really like to run a business and the life lessons learned while navigating a company through the dip. My name is Steven Sauer, and with me is my new friend, Mark Kuster, and we're here in Grand Rapids in beautiful Work Lab. I'm super excited to be here because it's my first podcast in the city that I currently live in. And so that's really fun to be able to do a podcast right here with a business owner right in my backyard. But tell me a little bit about Work Lab, because when I walk through this door, this place is incredibly beautiful. It's a co-working studio, which I've been to a lot, but this place seems like just a more special or a little bit more special than a lot of the other ones I've
I
been into.
appreciate it. Thank you. First off, thanks for having me. I love being on podcast. I love getting our word out, talking about our experiences, talking about our businesses, talking about life. So I really appreciate being here, and thanks for having me. Yes, we're in Work Lab. It's one of our businesses we own. We own several businesses, but Work Lab is kind of my passion project. It aligns with who I am, and we'll get into that a little bit, I'm sure. But it aligns with some of my passions, which include hospitality. And it's a new business venture, but it's not so new anymore. It's 11 years old. But it still feels new because it's a small business, and every day is a new adventure in small business USA. So it always feels new, which makes it really exciting. And Work Lab is a co-working business, like you said, but we also offer meeting room rentals and private office rentals. Not just for individuals, but for individuals and teams. If you have a small team, you can rent a team private office and house your growing team in one of the spaces in Work Lab. For our meeting room rentals, we really try to offer a all-inclusive experience and make it like a great day for the people that have their offsite meetings here. We include meals, so breakfast and lunches, and really try to craft the day to make it special, to make the group coming from their office to Work Lab to have their offsite meeting. We really want to make it a fun, special day,
Yeah.
really lighthearted and filled with some surprises. We love surprising them with gifts or smoothies or whatever it is. We'll do a stretch break with them and really just try to make their meeting day fun here at Work Lab. And then, of course, the co-working, we're a co-working membership-based type of company. So it's fun. It's exciting. You get to meet a lot of new people. A lot of businesses are flowing through our spaces, which is the whole point of it. It's very fulfilling for me to have this business, just because you get to meet so many people and work alongside so many fun people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And in one of our previous chats that we had, you were talking about how Work Lab has not always been the easiest business to run. And something that you brought up that I've been thinking a lot about is that it's really taught you about mindset and the importance of manifesting. And that's something that like I've never really dove that deep into. And when somebody says manifesting, I'm like thinking about, I don't know, some evangelical pastor or some self-help book. And like I'm a little bit skeptical, but I just don't know very much about it. And I'm really curious to know what your perspective on manifesting is and what that means to you. And then also I need to know how you learned all of that. But let's start with just like, what is it about mindset and
For
manifesting?
sure. And first off, I am no master. I would love to be a master at this, and I'm striving. to be at the mastery level of mindset control and manifestations or whatever you want to call it. For me, you first asked about the business and owning a small business and how hard that is and the constant daily struggles we all face. I always think of co-working as it's very similar to owning a restaurant, and it's hard to make money. It's a grind every single day. You're always on stage. You're serving other people in a variety of different ways. So you're helping a lot of people. It's true hospitality at its core, but people do it because they're so passionate about if you're a restaurant owner, you're passionate about food and serving people
Mhm.
and seeing the excitement and delight of their customers. And that's really true for me too. At my core of who I am and why I'm on this earth is this hospitality servanthood element inside of me, and I get to express that through this small business of Work Lab. If you talk about mindset, um, I definitely constantly am trying to work on my mindset, and it's hard. It's like exercising a muscle. And I've learned a lot of different things over the years. And from the very beginning, I was taught just to be positive. If you look at, I don't know if you've ever taken the Gallup Strengths Test,
Oh, yeah.
where it measures your
Is that
top.
Strength Finders?
Yeah, Strength Finders. It's a great company, Gallup, and they have a lot of great assessment tests to discover more about your true personality and your true strengths. But one of the top 5 strengths of mine is positivity, and it also shows up in my brother's top 5 as well. So we were brought up to be a very positive type of person. My mom is like the mastermind of positivity, almost to a fault where it goes too far, where everything, you know, that she may be struggling with, she wraps it with a positive
Yeah.
outlook, and that's her way of getting through things. But that's where I learned positivity from the very beginning, and I guess that was my first little stint into mindset mastery is when I got into the real world after college and you start your career and you're facing bigger things. College is so easy
Mhm.
compared to the real world. And you start to face these things at a young age in your 20s. I started focusing on my mindset of staying positive and having faith that it always will work out. My parents always told us everything works out as it should, and you just have to practice that faith, that everything is meant to be, everything will work out, the universe or God will take care of your ultimate destination and
Does
what you need in life.
does working out, like everything working out, mean that everything works out positively to you? Or does that, does working out also mean, like, sometimes it's a negative thing, but that's
Yeah.
okay, like,
I
that's
think
what.
when I was younger, I felt like working out meant like, oh, everything was going to be positive and good eventually.
Yeah.
And you just have to wait for the good stuff to come in and maybe go through some of the bad stuff. But as I got older and more mature and more wise, I would say, and everyone comes to these places at different times in their life. There's no rule book on any of this.
Yeah.
It's just when you're evolving and at the right time, you start noticing things and getting wiser. But I recognized when I got older, and especially owning a small business, that those tough times or what you think is hard in your mind or perceive as hard, they're meant to be there. They're all pieces of the chapter that you are currently in, and they are tools or mechanisms to get you to where you're supposed to go. And that kind of ties it back into manifesting. Manifesting to me is deep at your core of you trying as a human being, trying to get to the highest version of
Mm.
yourself, in that highest version will pull in the highest experiences that you can experience into your life, into your 3D reality. And the thoughts that you have or that inspire you, You're inspired because at your core, you have lived these things on some level. So you're aspiring towards a vision or a thought or a dream or whatever it is. And people like to make those visual and make vision boards, or they like to write them down, and those are their daily affirmations. They do all these practices to try to pull those into their reality, but it really is just trying to get to the highest version of yourself and trying to figure out what that looks like and pull those, experiences into your life.
Yeah. So with Work Lab, like,
Yes.
you started Work Lab, it sounds like because it was this natural outpouring of, like, this hospitality, service sort of thing that's just inside of you.
Yeah.
Uh, how did starting the company go, and how did that teach you about, like, mindset and stuff? Because you were saying that it wasn't always easy, or it's
Oh,
or these
right.
co-working spaces are actually pretty hard to run.
Right. I didn't realize it at the time. Back at that time, I was, starting new divisions for our family business. So I was the person. I have 2 brothers, and we were all involved in the family business at that time. At that time, my dad was running our family business, which is a furniture dealership. It's just called Kuster. That's our last name, and we still own it today. My brothers and I still own it. But at that time, I was focused on trying to diversify ourselves a little bit and look for new revenue streams. So I was doing that inside of our business, which is completely different than starting your own business by yourself on
Mm,
your own with no financial backing. Um, because if I were to fail at a new revenue stream inside of the business, we still have our core business
yeah.
and we didn't lose much. We may have a down year because of the investment it took to start a new division or a new revenue stream. But at the heart of it, we were always fine. Our business is very stable. Our family business is very stable. So when I was looking into co-working, it was back when WeWork was really taking off across the country. They were spreading like wildfire, and other co-working businesses at the time. People discovered this is 12 or 13 years ago. People were discovering new ways to work. Internet strength was getting stronger across offices and coffee shops and hotels, so people could connect into their systems, their operating systems, at third places like coffee shops and hotels. So this is when co-working was exploding, and I thought it would be a great add-on to our family business because I went to school for hospitality business at Michigan State.
Okay.
Go Green. And so I loved hospitality. I loved everything about it. I still do. I try to ingrain it into all of our businesses. So I was thinking co-working is this great mix of how people work and designing those spaces, which is what we do at our family business. Mix that with hospitality. And this is like the ultimate business for me, myself. Like, this is what I love. And so when I was starting to look into that, I asked my brothers if I could own it outside of the family-owned businesses and just own it by myself.
Is that because you wanted more just control over it, or were they like, "No, that's not quite our core business?"
Exactly. They were a little hesitant on the due diligence side. We try to have a governance structure where we vote on things, anything the family does. And they were not convinced that these co-working businesses were able to be profitable, where it would make sense to add on. They also were thinking about one location versus, would Custer, our family business, want to invest the capital to grow to several hundred locations
Yeah.
like the big players were doing at that time, like WeWork and others. So they thought, well, if we're just going to have one location, that's not really going to bring in a lot to our core net profit. So, they were okay. I said, "Okay, I wanna try this," and they were totally fine and
Did
supportive of me owning it by myself.
did that make you frustrated at all, though? Like, you're pitching this idea, and they all something you're really passionate about and excited about, and that comes from somewhere deeper than just,
Right.
let's create another business," and then they vote it down?
A little bit. But I'm kind of used to it because I'm a dreamer and I
Yeah.
come up with all kinds of ideas, and I totally get vetting those to, down to its core and really trying to, vote on if it makes sense in their minds, if it would be a stable business to add to our portfolio. So, on one level, I was a little sad because it would have been a lot easier if our core family business started this work lab
Yeah.
division because we would have had the backing. It would have been all of us together. Budgets would have been higher. We could have withstood some of the tougher times, especially COVID. I'm sure we'll talk about those years. So it would have been a lot easier, but back to mindset control, like it is what it is. Everyone, we make these decisions and those experiences come into our life. So I chose to start a business. So along with that will come the stress and pressure of owning a small business and going out and getting a loan and a line of credit just to get started. So co-working is very capital intensive. You need a lot of fixed assets. You need a ton of furniture. You need a ton of technology. You need a ton of fit out inside of a space. You need a lot of walls, a lot of cool attributes. You got to make it like a special, cool place to
Mhm.
come to. So it takes a lot of money to do that. So the fit out expense is really, really high. So we had a lot on the line when I started it, and my wife was not happy, but she was going along with it anyways. And to be honest, it caused a lot of marital stress as well, and I felt selfish on a lot of levels because I was going after my passion, but putting a lot on the line as far as debt load and loans and everything just to get it started.
Yeah. What kind of, like, just giving us, like, a ballpark, like, what kind of capital does it take? Because I think there's this idea
Yeah,
that you can there's this phrase that all these, I don't know, like, hustle culture kind of people have about arbitrage and stuff, like, you'll lease a space, and then you got the space, and then you can just rent it out to other people, and people have talked about doing this with co-working studios and
right.
Airbnbs, uh, and I think there's some naivety in that, like, how much does it actually take to open up, like, a full-fledged, like, really high quality co-working
Yeah,
studio?
so we were our downtown Grand Rapids, our first space, we started out with 10,000 square feet, and the fit out cost was 1,000,000 to a
Wow.
1,300,000 to fit out the entire space. So we started out with a white box, and then we fit the entire space out. So everything, construction, electrical, HVAC, um, everything. And we get a tenant improvement allowance. Most people do, and they sign a lease. So they get, I think we were getting $30 a square foot tenant improvement allowance. So you times that by your square feet, that's
Mhm.
$300,000. So we're left with about 1,000,000, just under $1,000,000 to finance to debt load to get started. So it's a lot. It's in today's world, to fit out a 10,000 square foot space would be, I would say, probably double than 11 years ago.
Wow.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So we were $125 a square foot to fit it out. And that's everything. That's construction, technology, furniture, appliances, dishware, everything,
Yeah.
coffee mugs. So I bet today's world, it's probably 200 to 250 a square foot. Some of my construction friends might laugh at that. Like, you're not even close to being accurate, but I'm guessing it's pretty close.
Yeah, yeah. And so you had to put your name on that loan and, like, personally
Personal
guarantee that?
guarantee.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the good old PG signature.
Did that
I
stress you out?
love that. Well, I was not stressed because I believed in it. So, um, mm, I don't mean to always jump back to manifestation, but belief is one of the key components. So you have to think about something. You have to come up with an inspiration. You think your thoughts, come up with your dream, your vision, um, but it will never manifest unless you truly believe in it. And I always, like, fully to my core, believed in this business. Um, I don't know if my wife fully believed in it. So when I asked her to sign the personal guarantee, if I would have just signed it myself, it would have been fine. But I had to go and ask my wife to sign a personal guarantee for the startup loan, and it wasn't easy. It
Yeah.
was hard.
Yeah.
And she was not on board, but trying to be supportive. Not on board with the business, on board with me and trying to support me,
Yeah.
but she didn't truly believe, I would say, fully in the business.
She believed in you,
Yes,
not the business. Yeah.
exactly.
Running a business is hard enough. Your website shouldn't make it harder. That's why I started Hustlefish. Instead of dealing with faceless website support bots that never really help, you can just talk to me and my team. Real people who feel like a part of your team. I'm so confident this will be the best experience with web help you've ever had. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Head to hustlefish.com to book a free call and let's make your website easy. And so you have this loan, you outfit the space,
Yeah.
and then people just show up and start
Well,
working and you start making money day one.
I love your positivity.
We're trying to manifest this.
I know, I love it. I was thinking that was gonna happen. I'm, like, thinking the whole country knows about coworking. It's blowing up everywhere. How do people not like, this is the future of how people are gonna work. I thought it would be similar to, like, when a fitness center opens up, a really beautiful fitness center, and they have, like, their membership
Yeah.
opening day, and they have the pop-up tents, and you can go sign up for memberships, and there's this long line
Mm-hmm.
to sign up for memberships. I thought that was gonna be similar to Work Lab's first day, where we had this line downtown around the corner, like, everyone's gonna come, you build it, they will come,
Yeah.
and, it was dead quiet for the first 3 weeks to a month, and,
What does dead quiet mean? Like how many
like,
members did you get?
no one was coming in.
No.
So what was good is we did some pre-selling,
Mm.
and we did lock up some people to reserving a private office. So we probably had 5 people. We have a total of 22 private offices down there. So let's just say 5 people pre-booked. So they were moving in, which was all exciting.
Yeah.
First day, they come to move into their private office. But it took way longer than I expected to build up the private office people, and we make them sign a 1-year agreement
Mm-hmm.
to basically sublease their private office from us. And so that's nice. Once you get them locked up, they're set. You can count on that revenue for a year. It just took a lot longer than I thought to find those people, to bring them in and then
Yeah.
lock them in. The co-working memberships, on the other hand, were continuing to struggle all throughout that first year. We got up to maybe 15 individuals.
Okay.
And what the thing I missed was the rise of co-working in all across the country that was happening in other cities. All those cities were about double the size of Grand Rapids. And the key component is the density of their downtown areas of those larger cities. They have so many more people living in their cities. So they're living and working in their cities, and they're walking everywhere. So the co-working model fits and works really well in large cities. It doesn't work so well in a very mid-size conservative town where people love their free anything, their discounts, their coupons, and their free gifts that they can get here in Grand Rapids. So it was hard to attract those people. They're like, why would I do that and join Work Lab if I can just go work for free in a coffee
Yeah.
shop?
How long did it take you to get to break even from when you opened your doors?
So break even probably came through, I would say, 2.5 to 3 years into it.
So were you just pulling from like a line of credit or were you using? Okay.
Yep. and credit cards and a line of credit.
Was that hard because, like, with dealing with the family dynamics? Like,
Yes.
I have brothers, and there's a certain amount of, I don't know, like, competitiveness,
It was
between us.
Oh, yeah. It was really tough dealing with the lag of success starting Work Lab was really tough. Because number one, I still had a role in my family business. I still had my day job. So I was trying to do this business on top of another business. So I was paying people to run Work Lab, but then trying to do as much as I can and spend as much time there as possible to get everyone up and running and to do the sales and to get people there. So it just was sorry for my language, an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
It was fun and exciting, but it was a shit show. Um, and then ultimately, in addition to the family pressure of trying to manage these two worlds and maintaining my role at our family business, in addition to that, the marital struggle was really tough because it wasn't happening as quickly. My wife kept waiting for it to make money and it wasn't happening. So then you have self-doubt and then you go into these dark rabbit holes talking about mindset. It's
Yeah.
very easy to slip. It's like when you're working out and you stop working out for a couple weeks, you can slip really quickly and go to some dark places.
How did you and Kelly navigate that together? Because I think that's something that, like, people don't talk about a lot, but is, like, a very real thing in, like, so many founder stories, is, like,
It is.
trying to walk through it with a partner where you have a dream, they believe in you and they wanna support you, but, like, there's a certain amount of pain that is happening because you're pursuing this dream, and it takes
Yeah.
money and revenue and sacrifice.
Exactly, and unplanned sacrifices,
Yeah.
I would say, because Kelly has her own business too and does very well. She owns a private preschool franchise and has done that for over 15 years, and it's thriving and stable, and she just does a fantastic job. So all of a sudden, when a new business doesn't go the way you planned and you're forecasting, it's not hitting your pro forma numbers because you thought one thing would happen and it didn't.
Mhm.
You start to put a lot of pressure on the other person
Mm.
as far as financial load for your lifestyle. And we are confident in success, and we've always tried to be successful in anything. We're super competitive. Like we want to be the best at everything we do. My family, Kelly and I. So we're usually not used to something not working. So that was a shock, and all that pressure went onto her as far as supporting our lifestyle at that time. And so all the feelings of guilt and sadness and hurt, and you just feel terrible, but it's hard to express that to her
Yeah.
because on her side, it's anger and like resentment. So it's tough to balance and you just have to work through it. And I think time helps. I think mostly it's just both people need to focus on their mindset. Like for Kelly, it's not going to help stewing and sitting in this resentful misery. It's not going to help our relationship. It's not going to help her. She probably was going to work, in an energy that other people could feel, and her business probably hurt a little bit because of that energy. And I shouldn't be stewing in my self doubt and guilt and shame for this business not going the way I planned. So I think ultimately we both just adjusted our mindset
Yeah.
and started pecking away at that over time and getting back to the highest energy levels of ourselves, the highest versions of ourselves at that time.
Was it hard at all for you being the guy and then all of a sudden relying on your wife for money? Because, like,
Yeah.
for me personally, like, I grew up in a fairly, like, conservative Christian, environment where, like, the man is supposed to be the leader and, like, the breadwinner and stuff. And this year, all of a sudden, I find myself in this place where we didn't have a very good year last year. and we're trying to buy a house right now. And all of a sudden, my wife is the one that's doing the heavy lifting. And I like looking at the situation, I would have been like, oh, I'm fine. Like
Right.
I don't have a big ego. Like I'm okay with that. But all of a sudden, like somewhere deep in the back of my brain, I start like playing all these really negative narratives about
Yes.
myself.
Yes.
And I think it comes back from just like this core idea that I was raised with, that I'm supposed to be the one that's, making the money for my family. Uh, and it's been really hard to just like sit in that place. Was
It
that hard for
is
you?
hard. Oh, of course. It's super hard. I also was born in a very conservative Christian reformed family where my dad started the business. My mom stayed home with
Mhm.
us, raised my two brothers and I. And yeah, he's supposed to be the breadwinner. The sons are supposed to be the breadwinner once they get married and they take care of everything. And obviously times are completely different now. But I think those images and memories, one of the people I follow that is really good about teaching uh, energy and how to run new energy through your system and through your body and through your chakras. He calls them old pictures that are still stuck to the inside of your
Mm,
beingness. So you're inside of your aura. And those old pictures stay there until you allow them and give them permission to leave and to exit out. So um, it's so much easier to say it and to talk about it than to actually do it. But it's constant practice of running new energy and getting rid of those old pictures and being okay with for a time period in our lives where your wife or your spouse is, supporting you more than they normally would, or as you're growing something. It's just a new picture, a new mindset, a
yeah.
new belief, but it takes a lot of work.
In that time, did you ever like lose that positive mindset and just want to give up?
Oh, yes. All the time and several times a day. But one nice thing that helped is actually, so at that time I was there a lot, like we talked about the first couple of years. I was bouncing back and forth between our family business and work lab, but I would say I was at work lab 80%, 20% family business. It did help when I got in there and just got back to of the core of who I am, which is being around people, serving them, designing a great I love watching people work. It's one of my quirks and super nerdiness in me. I just love observing people work, and then because we design workspaces, so I just love watching when and where and how they work. And I love setting moods and like playing music and lighting candles for scents. And I love hosting people too. So just doing the dirty work of starting your business and getting into the nitty gritty of like getting it up and running towards stability. That actually, just the mindlessness of doing the nitty gritty work, the little tasks like emptying the dishwasher full of work lab coffee mugs, like and placing them in
Mhm.
on our shelves, like doing those mindless tasks got it was a little reprieve from all the
Yeah.
guilt and shame I had of the business not taking off like I thought it would.
After you started being profitable, like once you got to that point, do you feel like all that guilt and shame was released, or was it's still like back there? You're still dragging along that
You're
weight.
still dragging it along, battling it, trying to release it, because part of this is my long-term discovery that this business is never gonna be a business that produces enough profit, that I can bring home to support
Mm,
our entire family and lifestyle. It's a business that needs a lot of scaling and a lot of, geographic locations, in order to bring in the profit levels that I thought a couple locations would bring in, and that's due to Number one, the area that we're in, it just doesn't have a lot of density. I thought we would have hundreds and hundreds of memberships,
Mhm.
where those members are paying $2.99 and $3.99 every month, and it's a great reoccurring revenue model. And we just don't have that in Grand Rapids. So, and then also I underestimated the capital expenditure that you need to have to start new locations and how much of a burden that's going to be. So the payback is really long. And I just I should have known parts of that beforehand, but maybe I was a little disillusioned by my passion of wanting to open up my own business inside of hospitality where I didn't see most of that.
Yeah.
Maybe my wife saw it from the outside a little bit more clear. So, anyways, we became profitable. All of that doesn't just go away because we were profitable, but it's a very small level of
Yeah.
profitability. So, you have to learn to be okay with that and say, okay, I'm doing my best to maximize the profits out of this small business that I own. We have a huge debt load. We haven't even talked about the debts that stemmed from the COVID era, but those were in addition to our initial debt load. And you just have to be okay and find purpose in it on another level, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about COVID a little bit, because like,
Yeah,
so you start the company,
great
you
times.
start you get it so it's becoming
Yeah.
profitable, and then all of a sudden
Boom.
COVID happens and you're kind of back maybe in the same place that you were before, where you don't have as many members as you need
Yes.
and people aren't utilizing the space because everyone's staying home. What did that feel like to be taken back to kind of square one that you fought so hard to get out of?
Yeah. Thanks for all the reminders of this fun time, and I love talking about it. No. I would say COVID happened 6 or 7 years into the business. So like you said, we finally got to some stability. I was comfortable being away from the business and paying, really great employees to run it. One nice thing about the co-working business is you don't need a lot of employees.
Mm,
We have 3 total employees for 2 locations. So back when we just had the 1 location, during COVID, we had two employees, and I think 1 was even part-time, so 1.5 employees. So we were in this peaceful place. I was working on the mindset of, like, it's never gonna be what I thought it was gonna be, and I was okay with that. So COVID happened, and at the beginning, it was like you remember all the old stories. At the first couple weeks of COVID, everyone's like, "Oh, this is gonna be done in a month." Like,
yeah.
"This is really weird, like, this virus is spreading like crazy. We'll wear masks for a little while, and then we'll go right back to normal." Like, this is a little blip on the, long-term picture of things, but it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so as a office concept business where people have to come to your physical space and work next to each other.
Ah,
It's like the worst nightmare of all nightmares for your business, much like many other businesses like movie theaters and restaurants, and everyone else had to deal with this. But one of the rules was remember one of the rules was you couldn't meet in larger
oh, yeah,
groups.
yeah.
Well, first there was you couldn't even be around each other. Then there was the size limit of your number of people you have congregating.
Mhm.
So our biggest revenue stream is meeting room revenue. And so we couldn't host any meeting rooms for basically 2 years. The only people that were technically allowed to come into our space were the people that had private offices because they were isolated in their office, so they could go in there and shut the door and work and get out of their homes. And so they were the ones that were continuing to pay us. So at least we had some revenue coming in, but we had zero meeting room revenue. And that's 2/3 of our overall revenue. And then the co-working members all just kind of vanished. And canceled their memberships right away because you weren't allowed to be in a common area and around other people. So it's back to that mindset, like, your circumstances are what they are, whether you brought them into your reality or not. Life is not always fair. This experience is part of a mechanism or tool that will get you to a higher place someday. So I really had to. COVID is when I really practiced mindset control and came out with a beautiful, positive, healthy mindset outside, when
Mhm.
COVID ended. I feel like I was in a really good place because I worked on my mindset so much because I had to. Otherwise, I would have gotten into a deep depressive state of mind at
Yeah.
that time.
Finding a place to meet and work outside your home office can be hard, but that's why I work out of Work Lab, Grand Rapids' go to space for professionals who need more than just a coffee shop table. In fact, it's where I work every day. Whether you're hosting a big client meeting or gathering your team for a strategy session, Work Lab's beautifully designed conference rooms are ready when you are. Fully equipped, easy to book, and right in downtown Ada and Grand Rapids. Check them out at worklabinc.com. How did you get into mindset and mindset control? Like, was it just a realization that you had while you were sitting here, like, I have to do something with where I'm at
Yeah.
emotionally and mentally? And where do you start going down to learn about it?
I probably first started after college. I got into a lot of, I would say, spiritual research. I've always been drawn to something a little bit more spiritual
Mhm.
and trying to understand things at a deeper level. So I think that's where it started. So it started with books, I would say. This is back in the late 90s out of
Mhm.
college. So before the internet, before research on the internet, before podcasts, before anything.
Yeah.
So it was books, just reading a lot of fun, different kinds of books.
Nice. So you had like a kind of a foundation there. But
Yep.
like when you were in COVID and like
Yeah.
kind of like in this really hard time, like for me, I know like when things get rough, it's really hard for me to reach out and start grabbing a hold of the thing that will pull me out of it.
Right.
But it kind of sounds like maybe you use some of that foundational knowledge that you got in college to, like, say, like, "Okay, this is where I need to start spending more of my time."
For
Did
sure.
you go back to those books, or do you look for, like, a teacher or a guru or
Yeah.
somebody to follow?
I always go back to books that I've had forever, and my wife always, jokes around about how I never just read a book from start to finish. I may have back in the day, but I like to jump back into books and refer to certain teachings. For me, it's easy because there's literally nowhere else to go, so it's kinda like, when I drink too much, my body tells me like, "Okay, I need to stop." So it's easy to stop.
Yeah.
Like when you've had a long weekend, that Monday after, it's very your body's telling you you need to detox. And so for me, when times are tough, I find it easy to only go to rebound, to only go back to where my mindset should be. But I've learned to get really good at taking those experiences and trying to use them as tools. And what did I learn from that? Always, what did I learn? What did I learn in the previous chapter? What did I learn that I can use going forward and use that to rebound and get back to my highest energy, my highest
Yeah.
version of myself? I can tell, it's like we're all energetic beings. I can totally tell when my energy's low,
Mm.
when my vibrations are low. And that's when you're either negative, pessimistic, you're stewing about something, you're in victim mentality, you're in this low vibration, low energetic mode, and I can feel that in my body, and for me, it's easy, like, when I'm feeling that, like, I gotta 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and snap out of it.
How do you or I guess explain it to me in, like, maybe just, like, really simple terms of, like, how to get to that place because, like, when I think back to, like, points in life where I've been, like, really depressed or struggling with life, like, I don't know if I had the energy or the ability to get out of it, like, it took time or it took somebody else, like, reaching out and pulling me out, but you're talking about, like, this idea of, like, I could just change it it's
instantly.
in my brain, like, I mean, that would be awesome to be able to just, like, flip the switch, but, like, I've how do you get to the place where you have that flip switch, or
Yes.
do you think that's just you and other people have different experiences in
No,
life?
it's definitely not me. It's the things I've learned over a long period of time and all these different experiences. But I would say the simplest version of what I'm saying is to not try to force or chase anything. It's a lot easier if you just focus on yourself and your calmness and beingness and reminding yourself that you're safe. And then you're in a place where things will come to you that are supposed to come to you. But if you're always chasing something or always trying to be more positive or trying to make more money or trying to chase something, you're actually blocking what is supposed to come to you. I think it's just going back to that place where you feel safe
Yeah.
is my easiest way and the simplest way that I can get back to where on track of to where I should be.
Does it
So the hardest part is going back there, but then your 3D, your circumstances are still the same at that moment.
Yeah.
That is the hardest part because you do have to practice patience and wait for things to shift a little bit.
Oh,
So
waiting. That's where I'm not patient. I feel stuck, and when I feel stuck,
it's so hard.
our anxiety just, like
It skyrockets. That is the hardest part, but you always have to remember the 3D is really slow. The
define what 3D is.
your current existence of what we see.
Okay.
So this world out here that we see through our eyes is our lens and it's an illusion because everyone sees differently. It's what you're experiencing, the current 3D. So what is coming or what has already happened but hasn't come into your 3D yet, that stuff happens instantly. Like you can think of something and it's happened on another dimension. But for that to come into your 3D and like when you shift your back into a state of calmness and then you're supposed to receive something, whether it's a person you're supposed to meet or a new idea or something to act on, that may take a while to come into your 3D because 3D moves really slow because we're stuck on a
Yeah.
time model here, a sequential time model, and it happens stuff just moves slow.
Yeah, that relative time, man. Sucks.
Yeah, so you just have to try to be at a peaceful place while you wait for the good to happen. That's what I'm currently working on. I am working on my energetic state, um, my alignment with myself energetically of keeping that at a very high level, so that I'm not blocking certain things. And then if you're blocking certain things, they take way longer, and people think, "Oh, I'm not this manifesting stuff that I'm working on, or this technique that I'm working on right now. It's not working." That's because if you're not an energetic match to, or have the capacity to receive it, it's going to be blocked and it's not going to come into your life. So there's a lot of things that I would like to happen in my life right now that I'm going after, like business success, and I have a whole list of things. I want our kids are older. I want our marriage to go to like the next level now that our kids are gone. I want to travel more. So that's another little bucket or container I'm trying to bring into and manifest into our life. Business success. I'm starting another new business, an online e-commerce business. So I'm trying to be in the right energetic state for that to launch in about a month. And so all these things, like this is what I'm focusing on now. I don't want myself to block anything.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work on being in the right flow state, I guess you could call it.
And so you're saying, like, if you are not in the right state where you're ready to receive whatever you're going after, like, because you have, I don't know, ill intentions or you're not.
Or a certain fear that you can't recognize, or
Okay.
something that happened in the past, an old picture,
Yeah.
that an old belief system that's still in your aura.
And so you have to release that
Yeah,
before.
but you have to
Have
figure out what those are first. That's the hard part. Like, what is blocking me?
So it's like identifying what the thing is blocking you, like whether it's this fear of X, Y, or Z that comes
Exactly.
from whatever, this old picture that you're holding on
Yep.
to. And once you identify it, letting go.
That's another hard part.
And then once you let go of it, then you can receive it.
And
So it's
you're
like kind of those three stages.
exactly.
How do you identify? Because I think knowing where some of my emotions come from is really hard sometimes.
Yeah, that's really hard. And that's currently what I'm trying to figure out, is how to identify the blocks as soon as possible. So it's kind of like in business where a lot of people tell you to fail early and fast. Like, I want to know what my blocks are really quickly so I can get them out. So it's hard. It just, I think it's your intuition and spending time and going inward and just kind of listening to yourself. Your body, I think, tells you a lot of where your blocks are too. So if you feel it, pain, aches, stress, heaviness in your neck and shoulders, I think listening to your body, because that will carry a lot of trauma and beliefs and um, bad experiences. So you just releasing pain in your body is one way to release some of the blocks that are happening in your life. But yeah, I don't know if any of us are ever going to master this life here on earth, but it's fun trying. And I'm doing my best to master it. And I'm trying to discover how to discover these blocks.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get better at it and releasing them and just constantly trying to elevate.
Yeah.
So I think it's just elevating yourself to the next version of yourself is kind of the name of the game.
Can you walk me through like a practical example, like this podcast? I want to get it to 1 million
Oh, yeah.
subscribers, right?
Yeah.
How would I start working on my mental attitude and manifest
Right.
that to happen? Like where would I begin with that?
So I would say you've already thought it. So you have the inspiration. You have thought about what it could be. So that's good. And then I would say, do you truly believe it down in your core?
Hmm.
And
That is
so
possible.
that it is truly possible that you could reach over 1 million viewers every podcast. And then if there's something in there where if you're breathing a little heavy or you feel something, your heartbeat go up, then you might need to work on that part,
Yeah.
the belief system. And then I think it's just the knowingness, if you believe it, practice. This is what I'm trying to get good at too, is the knowingness that it's already done. And you're practicing gratitude for it already being done because you have decided that it's done and accomplished.
Whoa.
So then that gratitude, you're pre-celebrating something that's already happened. And you have to know this in your mind that it's already happened. And this is really cool because it goes back to the biblical teachings of what God wanted us to do. He said, I'll give you anything you want. Like, but you have to have faith and believe that it's true and like thank me basically for what I'm about to give you. So it's really cool. It's connected to a lot of same teachings as Christianity. You have to you have to see something that you want. If it matches up energetically, that's a whole nother thing because that's getting rid of old pictures and bad energy and making sure your body's clear of everything so you can receive it. But you have to believe it before you can receive it. And you have to have gratitude before for it happening. And then it's just waiting because you've already in your mind convinced yourself that it happened. You've already celebrated it. You're so thankful for it. And now it's just waiting for that version of what you wanted to come into your 3D.
So you're saying not only do I believe it's possible, and um, you take it one step further and you say it's already happened in the timeline
Yeah.
somewhere down the road,
Yes.
and it's like, I already have a
Because
million
they
subscribers.
really
Hey,
exist.
okay,
Yes, exactly.
because it's linear for us, but
Exactly.
it's not. It's relative.
Yes. In the 5D,
Mhm.
it's already happened.
Wow, that's kind of that's mind
It's
blowing.
really cool to explore all these systems and energetic states because it's new to a lot of people, and a lot of it can spin off into being these flashy, like manifesting is so big right now on social media. But that's a very surfacey thing, and like those coaches or influencers that are talking about it may not have the depth of the entire platform and system. But it's really fun to try to get good at because all you're trying to do is become the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And you're trying to not always follow what you were taught or thought how things are supposed to go in relativeness to size and timing.
As you started, like, diving into this and learning more about it, did you feel uncomfortable with it at all? Because, like, right now, hearing you talk about it, it's like, okay, I can get behind, like, thinking about what's holding me up, right? These old
Right.
pictures. I can get behind believing something's gonna happen,
Right.
but, like, as soon as you got to this, like, believe that it already
That
happened,
it already
there's
happened.
something inside me that's just like, "Ooh, that makes me feel nervous."
Yes. Well, that's the whole point. So now you're recognizing that you may not fully believe it yet. So
It's
the
leading me to
universe is
believe.
making you feel a little nervous. So you got to work on your energetic state to make your body feel safe and your mind safe that can happen and has happened.
Interesting.
Really tricky and fun to try to get good at.
Wow. After, going through all these highs and lows and the dip, and learning everything about, like, where you are now and putting it into practice about mindfulness and manifesting,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to someone who's sitting in the dip right now and not sure if everything's gonna work out?
I would say look at the overall picture of what's happening right now and try to figure out maybe a new way of looking at it just for fun because you may be in misery, you may be in resentment, you may just be stressed and your mind is a chaotic mess. Maybe just for a little bit, try to kind of take a new look at it inside, like when you're alone and you're just meditate for a little bit or go on a walk or go sit outside just for like 5 to 10 minutes. Try to look at your situation in a new way and see how that feels for a couple seconds. And if you feel something refreshing or if you feel a lightness come over you, maybe kind of go down that path a little bit more each day of exploring that new way of looking at it and new mindset and and wipe out everything like just have a fresh slate of thinking about it, like take all of your preconceived notions about your current state and just for a few minutes wipe them away and see like a different, just try it, try a different way of looking at it and just see what happens. And if I would bet that you're going to feel some lightness and feel a sense of relief for a few minutes, and then that it could be your starting point. And then you could continue exploring that same type of thing a little deeper and working on it each day.
I like that idea of having a starting point and working on something and not having to master it out the gate.
Exactly.
I
It's
think I
one
always
thing
want
to try to understand everything all at once.
I have this, I think, tendency to wait and try to perfect something before
Right.
I move forward. I wanna master it before I do the thing,
Exactly.
and, I think that holds me back a lot. Like, even with this podcast, like, it took a lot of work to let go of wanting it to be perfect,
Right.
um, and not just keep thinking about it and editing episodes over and over and over and
Right.
over and over again,
Right.
and just
There,
be okay with putting it out there.
I don't think there's ever any perfection because whose definition is that? That's your idea of this perfection, but no one else cares about your idea of perfection. They just want to hear a good story.
Yeah.
So it might be holding you back to doing things a little faster and getting to a higher level because you're so worried about perfection or whatever it is. But yeah, it's a fun topic to master, and you can bring it into your businesses, into your relationships, into your life and practice on all these different categories of your life. So it's fun. And for Work Lab, it's this, I kind of have a new sense of peace, and it's this business that's not going to be this gigantic thing for me that, I grow and scale and have this big exit and big payoff. But it is a fun place to be each day, and I get a lot of fulfillment out of it, and I help a lot of people, and I love our employees. I love our members, and there's a purpose for it, and it's helping a lot of people, and I am very content with that state of beingness for Work Lab.
Wow, that's beautiful. Maybe that's a good place to end it right there.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you so much for having me. I love everything you're doing, and pretty soon you'll be reaching millions of people.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. Could you do one small thing for me? Whatever platform you're currently on, just hit the subscribe or like button. We're just getting started, and doing that one simple thing can make a big difference. If you want to go deeper, check out throughthedip.com and hop on my email list. I personally share the lessons I learned from each episode there. Through the Dip is a project of Hustlefish that's hosted by myself, Steven Souter, and edited by the amazing Sean Freeman. We're produced out of Work Lab, a co-working studio right in beautiful downtown Grand Rapids, Michigan.